Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing you a weekly dive of all the news, discussion, and condensed nerd talk you need for virtual reality gaming. This podcast is brought to you by Asterion Products, the maker of the beautiful Aura VR stand. We actually have one. Adam, can you bring that up for our viewers to see?
I'd love to, Jay.
This is an Asterion Aura. Any VR headset fits on there. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. And if you go to AsterionProducts.com, use code FULLDIVE, one word, FULLDIVE, you will get one of these $5 off. Pretty amazing.
It is. You won't regret it.
We all have them. We all love them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Jay Bratt. I'm a VR YouTuber and streamer and your host for tonight's podcast.
I'm Adam Charlton, a software engineer who loves game design and VR.
And I'm Destiny Wheeler, a VR and entrepreneur enthusiast. Sorry, it's been a while since I've had to quote this line, but I'm glad to be back today.
We are so excited. If you're watching our podcast, you're going to know something really different. We're in Dallas, Texas right now. We're in person for the first time for the podcast, absolutely ever. We've got some amazing things we've been doing here. VR experiences, location-based VR tournaments. Hang out in the gaming section. We're going to tell you more all about it.
But as always, our podcast is here to keep you up to date in the latest in the VR realm. We answer questions from our communities. We tell you some of the latest and greatest in VR news, and we discuss the games we've been playing recently. If you haven't seen our YouTube channel, we are all sitting here, not virtually, but in real life, interacting as if we were really together in one room, because we are.
Literally.
So check out the channel. Yeah, so check out the channel if you want to see us in our lovely real faces.
And if you're confused, you've never watched the podcast, we're usually virtually together because we're all over the world. We're not all together in the same place. We're actually going to skip our usual question and answers because we're at Thriver right now. Thriver is an awesome VR venue in Dallas, Texas. We're going to tell you more, like I said, in the gaming, but let's just dive on into the news.
That works. But first, we got to go into our sponsor segment. So today's sponsor for the news section is Esports Custom Wear. They specialize in custom esports jerseys modeled in the same way as professional sports jerseys. If you're on our YouTube channel, you can see us wearing it right now. We're all wearing an example of the fabulous esports custom wear jerseys. And let me tell you, we've been moving and sweating them all day, and they are perfect. They are absolutely perfect for what they're made for. You can get high quality fabrics, custom printing with no upfront costs. If you are at all interested in any esports custom wear for either your own team or for any of your favorite teams, be sure to check these guys out.
Check them out on Instagram. And I have a lot of sportswear, and I get sweaty when I work out, and it shows. This thing somehow didn't show any sweat at all today. Like, no matter how sweaty it got, it was really
remarkable.
Yeah, it was cool.
It truly holds up. It's great quality. Let's
talk about some news. So you guys hear this week about Facebook's recall. Did you hear about the Quest 2 recall at all?
I saw the headline. I did not read the full paragraph.
You're one of those people. You read the headline and you don't click.
Totally one of those
and you just take the headline at face value.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you some details. So Facebook has recalled all of their Quest 2 facial interfaces. So not the entire unit, but the facial interface that goes over your face. They have said that it was causing so much irritation. They've had over 5,700 customers report that it was a problem, giving them rashes.
Wow.
That's a lot of reports.
Yeah.
And so they stopped sale of the Quest 2. All of a sudden, the other day, it was actually like 5 days ago, everyone was like on Reddit, they're like, I can't get a Quest 2. It just stopped. It just disappeared. And so I was actually in the middle of talking about it for YouTube. And then finally it dropped. Oh, there's news. There's a Quest 2 128 gig coming next month. This is a recall. And so they've stopped all sale till August 24th when they release 128 gigabyte for the same price the 64 was. Oh, wow. What do you think, Destiny?
I think that's pretty crazy. So like with the next one, are they supposed to have fixed that problem? Obviously, that's what's going on.
Yep.
And so this is still the same headset, just a little bit extra specs, right?
They'll just a little bit bigger hard drive.
And no more face breaking out.
And that's kind of a question still, actually, because right now, if you have a Quest 2, you can go on Oculus.com and request a silicone cover. They're calling it a cover, although in the pictures, it looks like it's a new facial interface. They're going to replace all of those in the boxes of the new ones you can buy next month. But none of us still know yet whether it's just a little silicone piece that covers the original one or if it's going to snap in place and just be all silicone over padding. We don't know yet. Adam, what's your take?
You know, this is just another instance of continuous production problems that Facebook is having with these Oculus Quest headsets, right? We got the the pro headbands that were breaking all over the place, but that was only one particular batch. This is every Quest 2 for how long? Like, is it just the most recent batch? But it is surprising that they completely pulled it off the market.
It's been since the beginning, because they actually, for a long time, there's probably some overblown reports, because what was happening was people were finding out, if you called Oculus and you said you had an irritation from the original one, that the original facial interface that came in the first place, they would send them a VR cover brand leather one that was like nice. And so some people found out, I can get a better facial interface if I call this in and say I have this irritation. So now all of a sudden they're switching to silicone cover, which is probably a lot cheaper than the VR cover one. But the other part of the story that has made people a little upset, some people before the recall bought a Quest 64 gig. And now if they're out of the return window, everyone else is getting a new one next month with 128 gigs of space for the same price.
Isn't that Quest MO at the moment, though?
Exactly,
like, they did the same thing with the Quest 1.
Yeah, it's not surprising. It's totally on par. So
we know Destiny has a great opinion of Facebook already. After this news, how soon are you going to get a Quest 2?
Not soon, probably not at all. Like, I'm so over it. I feel like next there will be another bomb that's dropped. So I don't know. They need to get their shit together.
We'll find out there's some other thing wrong with it.
Oh yeah. Next they're gonna start like exploding or something. I don't know. That would like the phones in the pocket.
Oh man, when it's on your face though,
yes.
That would be horrible.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll keep letting you know if this story updates or changes. Right now, if you have the facial interface and you're like, oh crap, I didn't know that, go on Oculus.com. They've made an easy spot where you just put in your account and tell them, hey, I need that replacement. Although there's 4 million of them out. We actually have a number of Quests sold. So who knows how long these facial interfaces, I don't know if they have 4 million silicone ones ready. So you might get backed up really quick and into it. What do you think? Is there any other thoughts on this?
I think that it's nice that Oculus keeps updating their headsets. You know, they're coming out with one with a much bigger hard drive at the same cost. It's unfortunate that they keep doing it after they keep screwing up, right? Exactly. It's like, I wish that they could eventually get better without it being because they screwed up something, right?
Yeah, and then screwing over that previous crowd who then bought that wave. And it's just like this continuous bull crap.
But you can get a free silicone cover. Isn't that everything you need?
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, but they only did that because they're probably putting fiberglass in the last one, right?
Yeah, they're trying to save some face here. Well, that's the end of that story. But real quick, before we go further, I brought my Quest 2 on this trip, and I actually let Adam test it out a little bit. Do you want to give us some real brief thoughts? What did you think? Because you'd never used one.
I did. It was my first time using any Oculus product, in fact.
Wow.
And I actually quite enjoyed it. Now, it's really different coming from something like the Valve Index, but it was a really nice experience. I also got to play around with the hand tracking, and that's something that is completely unique to the Oculus Quest 2, and I was really quite impressed with it. I believe that Jay will have an entirely separate video on that, and so you'll be able to see my full thoughts there.
My full thoughts. And keep in mind, this was my Quest 2. This was not a stock Quest 2 with a stock interface and a stock strap. Almost everything but the headset itself on my Quest 2 has been replaced. So he was getting to try a better experience. And the hand tracking was on the Quest 1. Doesn't yours have hand tracking? Mm-hmm. What do you think of hand tracking?
I hate it. I never use it.
Does it have a problem because you have tattoos and stuff, you think?
No, actually, I've never thought about that. But no, I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think I tried it like right when it like was even released, and it was so glitchy. And I have not tried it since then, where a game that it was meant for has actually been released. So then maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe I need to try one where it's more compatible, and then maybe, I hope within this time frame they have made, changes to it and it's better. So
I hope so. I'll send you a couple links to some, and maybe before the next podcast you're on, you can try it and report back to us, because I'd love to know.
Yeah, because I gotta say, I was quite impressed.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Cool. All right.
It was surprising. Well, we're going to talk about games. But first, we got to tell you, of course, about the other sponsor of our podcast, Asterion Products. We got an Aura in person here to show you. This one is customized with some laser etching. They're normally just clear, beautiful acrylic. You can light them up to match any display. $5 off by using code FULLDIVE on AsterionProducts.com. Get over there and get yourself one if you don't already have it. If you've been listening to this podcast and you don't have one by now, what are you doing?
Let your headset rest in style.
Yeah.
Yes, out of the box.
Yeah, it's so pretty. How many do you have now?
Oh, man. 3 or 4. Because I also have the custom one. So
Nice.
And then the Vertex. So I gotta get a little stash.
They're worth it.
They are.
Well, we went to Zero Latency in Dallas. Adam was there. Destiny didn't get to go to this. Adam, why don't you kind of tell Destiny what Zero Latency was like, what it was about?
I'd love to. So Zero Latency is a place that focuses on VR. Now, normally in VR, you put on your headset, you're wired to your computer, and you just walk around your little living room. But most of the time, if you want to really experience a big area, you have to move around with your joysticks. Zero Latency fixes that problem in a way. So you put on a PC in a backpack and you're wired up to this PC in your backpack, and they just set you loose in what looks like a giant warehouse. And so you're able to, if you see something off in the distance, instead of pushing in on your thumbstick to walk over there, you just walk over there.
That's awesome.
They offer so many different kinds of games. There's a PvP, there's a lot of zombie shooters. There's a sci-fi survival type of shooter, and that was a lot of fun. And we got to try out so many different types of games, and it was a blast.
It sounds like it. I do want to give that a try.
And you don't use controllers. You have a big gun stock rifle in your hands. So it's not like a set of normal controllers from anything. It has a trigger. It has a pump, like a shotgun pump on the front, and then one more button on the side for your finger if you're trying to switch guns. And it also has a button on the bottom that you slap if you're like reloading a mag or something. So it was a mind-blowing experience being there. We're kind of giving you the premise. What questions do you have?
Well, okay, for one, I guess I didn't realize that was the whole situation with the controllers. Like, so it's not even incorporated into the stock, like it's straight up its own piece that you use.
So it looks like a gun. There is a Windows mixed reality controller built into the top of it, but you don't even really notice that because
you
of the
don't
way
hold it or interact with it at all. It really just looks like you're holding this big old gun. Because it's not even like, if you think of traditional VR gun stocks, it's more like PVC pipe that you hook your controllers
like that's what
into.
I'm picturing.
Yeah, it's not anything like that at all. It really feels like there's a lot of weight to it. It feels like holding an airsoft rifle, where there's a whole handguard and trigger set up and buttons all over this contraption. It doesn't look like a VR controller in any sense of the word. You hold it and it feels like an actual gun. And there just so happens to be a VR controller built onto the top of it for tracking.
Okay. I'll get a picture on screen for those of you who are watching the YouTube version. And then for those of you who are listening right now, just Google Zero Latency. You'll find a million images. But this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's really rad. I've never played with anything like that.
Yeah, and it really adds a lot to the experience. I feel like if they did something traditional with traditional VR controllers, it would take it away. But holding that gun stock, feeling the weight of it in your hands, really helps immerse you into the experience. And that's one of the things that we always talk about, how VR is so immersive and it's really the next step. Zero Latency really took it to the next level, where you don't get motion sick because you're not moving in VR when your body isn't. If you see something, you physically walk over to it. And that's one of the coolest experiences. It takes that level of immersion, even in VR, which is hyper immersive, just to the next level.
I didn't even think about that with that fixing the whole sickness problem. That's really cool, the motion sickness. Nice.
It was one of the best VR experiences I've ever had. Everything about it worked, and it uses a space that's a pretty good sized room. Yeah. But also what it does, the experiences are all designed for them, by them, specifically for these rooms. So instead of, you run across this big open room once, and then you're at the other end or something. There were ones that you were walking down a hallway that you see in VR that doesn't exist in the room. And then you turn right down another corridor, and then you turn, or you walk down a ramp and you turn, and you don't realize it unless you're really keen on what your body is doing. But most people, you're just looking at the game. You don't realize you're lapping this room or you're walking all over it. So it feels like you walked all over a giant spaceship.
Right.
But you've just literally walked around the same room over and over again.
They use the space really well.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't, like if you put someone in there that doesn't have a ton of VR experience, they'd be like, how in the heck am I still walking? Because there was a few games where you kind of walk back and forth, but a lot of them really made you feel like you were going somewhere when it was happening, which was just amazing. I mean, I think we could sing the praises of it all day. And if you have a Zero Latency, there's tons of locations. You have one near you, go look it up and go check it out. There was a few things I wished it had. Was there anything that you did?
There was a single PvP game, and I wish that there was a little bit more of that. Now, that may just be me. I'm a very competitive person, and the PvP experience that we did play was really good and really well polished, and I would have loved to see more of that.
Yeah, that was cool. There was a major missed opportunity. I thought the gun stock had no haptics built into it.
Oh, okay.
So if there'd been some vibration in there, some kick, anything, it would have felt really good. It was missing that. And I kept thinking, because like in some games, I was like, did I just fire? Did my gun work when I shot?
You weren't having that feedback.
Because there's no vibration. You know, you're just pulling that trigger repeatedly and you don't notice as much when you like run out of ammo because you're still pulling the trigger and normally the vibration would stop in a game. And I kept noticing like that was the one thing I was like, oh, I wish we had this. It was an amazing experience. Check them out. We're sitting here in Thriver. You're probably still wondering, what the heck is Thriver? Destiny, you kind of walked in this at the last minute. Do you want to give us some points of what was your first impression when you walked in this place today?
I'll say this is my first like full on VR, not necessarily arena, but I guess
Sure, on premise.
Yeah, type thing, you know? Because I think we've all had that typical VR like experience where you go in and you're in a little stall and you're attached to it and just play a typical game. But yeah, this, like, as you can see, or hopefully you can see, like, this is just like next level. Like, this is intense. And the fact that there's not even just like you come in for one experience, there's literally multiple stations. Like, I didn't expect that. And so, like, it's very impressive. It's a lot of really nice VR equipment.
Yeah, it truly is a unique experience walking into Thriver. Jay, do you want to give a quick rundown on what Thriver is all about?
Yeah. So Thriver, this is the first ever location. It's here in Dallas. They are looking to be the future of VR esports and VR fitness. So you come in here and honestly, when you first walk in, your impression is this is a gym. This is a fitness center. You see all kinds of equipment everywhere. It looks like equipment you exercise on, but then you also start looking a little closer. You see people are on this equipment with VR headsets on. There is an Omni arena full of a bunch of VR treadmills, but everyone is sweaty and smiling and having a great time while they're doing it. So we came here and there's a whole assortment. They have the Icarus flying machines. They have a machine that you can kickbox and box with. They have a really intense boxing machine. I keep getting distracted. There's a thunderstorm happening in Dallas, right? Out of my
He's
view.
about to go fly. There's a severe thunderstorm warning right now.
Oh, great.
It's going to be fine.
You're good.
They've got all these amazing machines, but the boxing machine actually has augmented reality and virtual reality capability. We didn't get to try that because they didn't have the AR glasses yet, but you're punching an actual bag that moves away and closer to you. And if you were wearing augmented reality glasses, you would see an opponent there being a hologram projected over that and be trying to punch this actual opponent who's dodging you and moving away. But we were seeing it on a TV instead because of that. And it was so cool. Like, it really felt like we were fighting, but it definitely felt like it was missing something. And I think it was that hologram, because on the TV, he'd step back and it's a little harder in 2D to see it. It's a sweaty, awesome place.
There were so many unbelievable types of experiences. And I really feel like with all the different equipment that we had here, there's something for everybody here. And I think that we all had different favorites and different things that we love to try. My personal favorite was this flying machine where you put your arms and your legs into this, and then it has you go full horizontal, and it is a killer core workout along with your arms. And, you know, when you're typically working out, you want to do a lot of, you know, planks and things like that. It burns after a while and you're just sort of laying there like, okay, why am I doing this? Well, with the flying machines, you're doing those same type of motions. You're really getting to shape. You're really working out your core, but you almost don't notice it because you're having so much fun doing it. And so, and all of the different machines here are like that, where now that we're kind of settled down after doing all the different activities today, I'm really sore. I can really feel it, but you don't really notice it at the time, and you're working out a lot and you just don't care because you're really enjoying it and you're having a good time.
Yeah, you're so immersed. Destiny, none of us have ever been on a VR treadmill, but you want to kind of walk us through what that was like?
That was actually my favorite part. Like, I love the Omni. And so obviously I first walked in and got to see like y'all doing it, and which was nice, and to get your feedback first. So then I knew what to expect, because I don't even know how to explain the experience other than you have to have trust in it.
Yeah. Well, how about we take a moment and explain to the listeners, what is this VR treadmill? What is the Omni Arena? Could you try and describe it for some of our listeners?
So there's different ones, but the Omni specifically, this one, you have to wear these what would you call that on the shoes?
Shoe covers,
like
slippery.
traction.
They're frictionless shoe covers.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to put on these things on your shoes, and it is super slippery. And they kind of guide you into it. You have to like buckle and strap yourself in super tight. And like I said, you have to have full faith, because then once you're like strapped in and you get to playing, like the shoes help you to be able to slide kind of like in this like bowl type base. Oh. And then you have to like put your weight forward if you want to go forward. And it's such like a very hard thing to like wrap your head around, because you want to like still kind of like lean back and like hold on. But once you kind of like relax and ease into it, it is very fun, and it does totally add to the immersion experience. So, and
you ran all over, and you have some VR motion sickness issues in most games. How did you do in there?
At first, like a split second, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can do this. And like it went away so quick. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't experience it at all. So I don't know if because of your like kind of moving into it, if that helped with it, or maybe just now over time I've played so long, it's starting to wear off a little bit more. But regardless, like I feel like it'd be pretty safe to say even people who have motion sickness experience or are newer to VR, I think they'd still have a lot of fun. I don't know. What about y'all?
I mean, I really enjoyed the experience. It's definitely really different from a traditional VR experience. And we were talking about this exact same thing with zero latency, where instead of pushing the joystick to go forward, it's such a mind bender you're hooked into this apparatus to actually walk there. And unlike zero latency, where you're walking in real life, you're staying in place. So you're able to have a much smaller place for the Omni Arena, but you're still able to get that experience of walking around place to place. It's a workout. It is a really workout because you're not worried about running into walls and things like that. You see an objective and you are full on sprinting towards that to try and get the score. And it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, it's kind of something you just have to experience. Like you've seen videos of it. I've watched so many videos, and getting in it was still way different than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yes.
I thought I was just going to be actually physically running like normal. And there is a degree of leaning. There is a degree of keeping your feet both down at the same time that is different. So you're not going to get into this thing and just run for real your first time. You do have a little bit of time. You have to learn how to do it.
For sure.
But then once you get to that, you're very comfortable moving around inside of the scene and everything. I thought about the fact that I was a little worried because it's still wired to your headset, and I was always turning one direction. I don't know what it is. I'm not an ambi turner.
Yeah, the turning thing was like kind of funky.
Yeah, I was always turning left. Every time I had to turn, I was like, turn left. Even though I was trying to turn this, to my physical right, I was doing like a 270 degree turn left, and I was like, stop doing that. I don't know why I'm like that.
Oh, well, that explains our score.
Hey, we took second place. So one of the big reasons we were at Thriver was we were actually holding their first ever VR tournament. It was kind of like a triathlon, though. It's not like you think of an esports tournament. You see a bunch of people at computers plugging away, fighting each other. We were actually moving from physically intense event to physically intense event over and over again with all these different teams of people that we'd found all over around Texas. And actually, I wanted to say a quick shout out to Brand Mallon. He brought another person. They came out and were actually here competing with us. That was absolutely incredible to get to meet some of the people from the podcast Discord. So that was really cool.
That was really cool. Yeah. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I know. It was surprising how many people, were in this one random place that actually turned out that we got to meet today. So that was really cool. Adam, who won the tournament?
That would be Jay and I. So Jay and I paired up. We decided, we really want to try hard and win this thing. And we were able to walk away with the first prize.
Which is pretty good because we were going up against a VR esports team. You've probably heard us talking about in previous podcasts, OKVR. They compete professionally on these Omni arenas. But luckily, the Omni arena was only one of the 5 events we competed in. Exactly. And of course, they won it. We actually weren't that far behind them, though. We got 114,000 points, and they got 123,000 points. So I felt pretty good about going up against an esports team and doing that. But because of all the other events we were able to win, we actually took the grand prize, which was pretty cool. A lot of them were Asterion products, so we gave those on to the other winners because Asterion has taken care of us very well. We didn't need any more.
Yeah. Should love.
So one of the main purposes of Thrive VR is definitely the workout. It's meant to be a gym where you're incorporating VR to really enhance that experience. So Destiny and Jay, how do you feel like at the end of the day, we spent all day on these machines? Do you feel like that was able to fulfill that purpose?
Oh, like to combine both experiences?
Yeah.
I think for sure, like totally, especially in maybe it was different today because there was the different teams and stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, maybe even on a typical day, like if they have walk-ins, I'm assuming that's how they run their business. If you do have a good enough crowd, like a Friday or a Saturday night, like it might be a really fun thing, you know, like because then you can even meet new people for people who are into that.
Yeah.
But or you can bring a group or like do the tournaments like today. And I think they did a good job at being able to incorporate that. I mean, there's so much room for group play.
Yeah, and Jay, I know that you have like your own personal workout gym. Is this something that you'd consider doing? Because does the VR and technology component really enhance your experience for going to the gym?
It does. And it also fulfills other needs. Because when I'm at home in my own gym, I do the things I want to do. I barely ever do squats. I do a lot of benching. You know, I do the things I enjoy. Where here, I was working all kinds of muscles that I haven't worked in forever because you're doing this weird planking, flying machine stuff. Like, and I'm sore all over right now. I am so sore right now. Mostly it's this arm. My right arm is really bugging me from boxing so much, but I can feel there's like little spots all over me that I'm like, why does that hurt?
Right.
It definitely works you in ways that you wouldn't normally do yourself. So I think it's definitely worth your time. It's been an amazing trip. This has been our first time ever being together. It's been really cool hanging out. We've had a lot of fun. If you want to see more, watch the YouTube channel. If you're not already there, we'll be releasing some videos on the Full Dive and on my JBrat channel of all these experiences that we were doing together. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Going back and talking. I mean, this is a trip we're going to talk about forever.
Oh, yeah.
This was
Oh,
so
yes.
cool.
Yeah, very unique experience.
Yeah. And if you want to talk about it, come join our Discord server. If you're not already there, why not? You can be asking us questions. You can ask more about this and hear more about this with us. You can provide suggestions for what we do in the future. Do you want to have influence over where we go next? You kind of could on the Discord. It could be a while.
Yeah, or you could be up to date on events like this and be able to join us in person as we do more events like this in the future.
Yeah, we just asked on the Discord, hey, who's in this part of the country? Do you want to come hang out? And it was really cool that people got to.
Yeah.
And of course, you're there with a bunch of like-minded individuals who love VR and want to talk about it. If you want to directly support this podcast, check us out on Patreon. And of course, if you're there, you're going to get the top of the pick for the list whenever you ask any questions. And if you're already listening, come watch, especially this episode. You're seeing us for real for the first time. You got to at least come see this one if you've never been to the YouTube.
It's our face reveal.
Yeah. Because literally for a year, we've always like toyed with the idea. So to honestly see it come like full circle, like this has been really fun.
Has it been a little weird, like actually seeing us doing this right now?
Yeah, it's like we were talking about, and for the people who have seen us when we would host some of our shows in VR chat, we have avatars that are very similar to how we do look in person. So it was kind of a weird mind trick, like seeing you in person, like hearing that voice and like knowing your avatar and knowing that it's close to looking like you, but you're like this real person and like with movement. And so it's cool. It's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for being here today. We always love everybody being here listening. But remember, when it comes to VR, you have
To dive on in.
Do I want in?
Do I want it?